All right. Patrick, can we please have a one-word prompt?
Lynchian.
Okay. Good luck, Steve. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Do I need to watch Twin Peaks? Is this where I get convinced that I just need to watch it?
Well, let's see what you thought of this movie first. But I like Twin Peaks.
Yeah. It's something that's always been intriguing to me. I feel like I would like Twin Peaks. David Lynch is just a big blind spot. Again, have not seen much of his stuff.
Hold on one second. Hey, welcome to the Overtalking Podcast with your hosts, Ken and CJ. Say hi, CJ.
Hi, CJ.
This is the show where we talk over TV shows and movies as chosen by our guests. And this week we watched Mulholland Drive.
The remastered edition.
Wait, we could have done TV shows?
We're trying to phase that out.
We should have done the Twin Peaks pilot.
Oh,
Sorry.
Next time.
Go ahead.
TV shows are tough to talk about on this show because it's like one episode is all we watch. And then, I don't know, pilots work best, but...
I'm just going to say right out, we're a minute in, and classic guest already booking his next appearance.
Yeah. Who is that guest, Steve?
We call him Triple P in the biz because he's added podcaster to his titles. It's Patrick Cotnoir.
What's the second? Oh, producer, I guess?
Producer.
Okay,
it's podcaster, producer Patrick, Triple P.
That's
wow.
Good. Thank you for having me back for my 97th appearance on this show.
I think that's right. Yeah.
It's getting up there. Yeah. It's getting up there.
We're all best friends. We love each other.
We are.
We appreciate you coming back.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. To watch a movie I had not seen in a while and remembered almost none of.
My first time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I am very excited to dive further into what both of you thought of this.
Yeah.
I had also seen it once before. But before we get to that, obviously we are talking about Mulholland Drive because David Lynch passed away a week or two ago.
All right.
So we thought it would be a great time to honor him and his work by discussing one of the movies that we probably all just don't have an actual understanding of what it is or what happened in it. So I'm sure we'll do an awful job of paying respects in that regard. But
before we dive into that, Patrick, a few months ago, you made it to Chicago. How was it? How was it being in the greatest city in the world? Didn't you come to Chicago in October?
No.
It didn't happen?
Didn't happen. It was supposed to happen, then it didn't happen. Sorry,
now
guys.
I feel bad I brought it up, but I'm
It's
sort of
okay,
glad that I didn't miss it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, look, I would still love for it to happen. It was one of those things that was coming together very quickly and sort of suspiciously quickly. And then it hit a point where I was like, this is not going to happen. We're like, this is 2 weeks away. There's no world where this happens. So hopefully soon. But please leave this in the episode and do not cut it out.
Okay. That's great, because then I'll hopefully get to go to this one, because I wouldn't have been able to make it to that.
Yeah.
And the show you were going to do, we have to talk about it, the George Lucas Talk Show, which you recently, guys, went back to your roots, a.k.a. COVID streams.
It's true.
And I believe I saw you did a 13-hour stream.
Yeah. It was actually 13 hour, 46 minutes. So at that point, it's 14 hours.
Yeah, that's right.
You round up.
At that point, you might as well go up. Yeah, we did it Monday the 20th, which was my birthday.
Happy belated.
There was nothing else weird or terrible going on in the world, so we decided to do some counter-programming and raise some money for people impacted by the fires in LA. And we're coming up close on... There's a chance that by the end of this recording, we will have hit $50,000 that we raised.
Incredible.
Wow.
Because there have been a lot of donations coming in, even still, at the time of the recording, 3 days later, which rules. And it was very, very fun. And we had a ton of really cool people on. We had Leslie Headland on, who created The Acolyte, which is a Star Wars show that I liked a lot. And caused a lot of drama online unnecessarily, I think.
Of course.
But I think it's very fun. And she was on for 2 hours, and it ruled. And someone I had never met before. And I think it's always very fun when we have people like that, where I'm like, oh, you really like this. You had a really good time here, And it's exciting for me when that happens.
Yeah.
But it's all up on YouTube, and people can watch it. And if you want to donate, if you've been looking for somewhere to throw, $5 towards $10 towards whatever, or more if you got it. bit.ly/GLTSfire is where you can do that. And, truly every dollar helps. It's been a real nightmare in Los Angeles the last couple of weeks. I had to evacuate to we went like 2 hours outside the city for a few days just because there was one that was getting kind of close to where I was, and luckily it was fine, and they got it before it hit any houses or structures or anything. But it was, it was one of those moments where it was like, okay, time to go, let's go, and so it's been a weird couple weeks, and I think this was a good thing for all of us to do. We needed to do something, and this felt like the easiest way to do something.
Yeah. I want to ask you this question because I have a feeling you probably know roughly the answer just off the top of your head.
Sure.
The George Lucas Talk Show has done so many of these charity streams. How much money in total has the show raised?
Let's look, because I haven't looked. I haven't added the new numbers in, but let's see where we're at.
Because I want to say it's a large amount.
Yeah, it's like 325, 330, somewhere in there. Maybe even a little bit more than that. Maybe like 335,000,
right?
Incredible. Yeah.
That's insane.
It's insane. It's a lot of money. It's so much money
for all of these wonderful causes. You guys rule.
Really,
that's amazing.
We've got a lot of good fans and a lot of good people watching, and it's, like this one specifically, we auctioned off 100 things, like literally 100 things. So I have not touched my apartment in like 3 days because there's stuff everywhere that I'm like, well, that needs to get mailed to Puerto Rico, and that needs to get mailed to Sweden, and this one's going to Wisconsin, but that one is also going to Wisconsin, but it's not the same person. Like, it's just been I have a stack of things on this table, like right off screen right here. So it's very cool, but it also creates a giant headache for me because now I need to go drive to like 7 people to go pick up prizes that they auctioned off during the show. But we're very glad and very happy that people feel like that we're a place that they can toss money via, like
totally
use us as a surrogate to get money to places for people who need it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Amazing
Yeah,
work.
that's great that you guys are providing an avenue for people to donate. Yeah, and I'm glad that you're doing well and have gotten through hopefully the worst of it.
So far so good. We'll see.
Yeah.
I did realize in the moment when I was like packing my car up, because that, you got to do it. It was very interesting to realize what the important things are in my house to me, where I was just like, oh, every piece of art, I guess, is coming off the walls. Like, that was my whole thing. I was just like, well, you can't get that again. That's a one of a kind. You can't get that. And it was like, I left so many clothes. I only had one pair of bad shoes with me. Like, I didn't get any useful things. It was just like, well, here's a signed sketch that someone gave me. I guess that has to go in the car. It was a lot of that. And it was a very interesting look into my own psyche. And I'm going to be talking with my therapist about it until I die.
Did the poster of Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein make the cut?
Yes, the Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein poster made it. The 6-foot-tall Ewok poster did not make it just because there was not enough room in the car.
What about the Clifford memorabilia? That was what I was going to ask.
The Clifford memorabilia also did make it. Yes,
okay, great.
That is true. Yeah. It was all stuff that couldn't be replaced.
Yeah.
Where it was like, I can buy books again, I can buy DVDs again if I need to, whatever. But the stuff that's like, oh, if this is gone, this is gone. Those were the things that mostly got taken. But they're all fine, luckily.
That's good.
So we're good. Yeah.
And you're fine, which is the most important part. But hey, speaking of LA, we're going to talk about Mulholland Drive. Great. Perfect twofer there. So we'll be right back to talk about that on the Overtalking Podcast.
Get out of the car.
What's wrong? I just don't know who I am. I wonder where you were going. Mulholland Drive. Come on, it'll be just like in the movies. We'll pretend to be someone else.
And we're back on the Overtalking Podcast. Joined once again by returning guest, Patrick Cotnoir, and we're talking about Mulholland Drive. Patrick, we're going to put 30 seconds on the clock for you to describe. Good luck describing this movie to someone who has not yet seen it.
Oh, God, I forgot about this. Oh, no.
Tell them what it's all about.
Ready, go.
There's a girl named Betty, and she comes to Los Angeles. She's very excited to come to Los Angeles. But there's also another girl whose name I don't remember right now, and she's a brunette, and she gets in a car accident because she's dealing with some shady shit. And then Robert Forster finds her. But then she's crawling off, and she goes and she hides inside of Betty's new apartment in Los Angeles, and Betty comes in, and she finds her, and she's like, who are you? And she goes, I don't know. And it's basically just them trying to figure out who she knows. But then midway through, they turn into different people.
4,
and,
3,
it's 2, it's all
1.
up to interpretation.
Time.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of it.
It's pretty close.
What the hell happened to this movie? I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. But sometimes that's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's okay.
It's just vibes, you know?
Yeah.
Look, and you know what? CJ and I have been drinking something lately that if this didn't help us understand it, nothing will. So what have we been drinking, CJ?
We've been drinking Magic Mind.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this before, but previously I used to struggle a little bit with focusing at work. And, sometimes watching movies, longer movies like this one. And then, we started drinking Magic Mind, and it's helped a lot. But all month long, Magic Mind is pushing this idea of the concept of mental wealth, which is kind of the idea of get good sleep at night, you recharge, and then you have that extra energy to expend to really focus and get things done the next day. And the 5 pillars of mental wealth are sleep, diet, exercise, stress management, and exogenous compounds. Now, Siege, we've been drinking the sleep shots lately, and they have been helping me sleep a lot. Have you been drinking them?
That's right. Yeah. Now that we have this sort of 24-hour day pack, we wake up, take the mental performance shot, and then at night we can take this little sleep shot.
Yeah, it's a whole system at this point, and it really helps make sure that you get to recharge at night, and then the next day get to be the best version of yourself. Where can people get a discount on Magic Mind?
They can get 45% off the Magic Mind bundle with our link at magicmind.com/overtalkingpodjan. That's overtalkingpod, JAN, for January.
Yeah, you know it. So yeah, go there. Be sure to get the 24-hour pack and let us know what you think. Write us in.
And as a reminder, Magic Mind donates 5 cents for every bottle sold to mental health charities, which is very nice and cool of them.
Absolutely. We love Magic Mind. We think you will too. This is the best way to support the show, so go check it out. Yeah, I've been sleeping well, but I would imagine that anyone having watched this movie is going to have some pretty weird dreams afterwards.
I legitimately was afraid that I might have nightmares. I watched this last night and was like, I wonder if I'm going to wake up having not slept.
Can I tell you, I did have a David Lynch dream this week.
Really?
Did you? Please describe it in detail.
Yes.
He had to get evacuated from his house because he was in the hills, and it was the same fire that both of us got scared about. That was the reason why I left my house was the same reason why he left his house. And he went somewhere. I don't know where he went. I assume it was a family member. I'm not sure. I had a dream a few nights later, and I don't know if I was there or if I was watching something, if I was watching a video of this, like a Zoom or something like that. But it was David Lynch, and he was with Post Malone, okay? He was staying with Post Malone. That was where he evacuated to, was Post Malone's house.
Sure.
And they were talking about how David Lynch was obviously heavily into transcendental meditation as a whole. It was his whole big thing for 50 years. He was talking about how driftwood was very helpful with meditation. Okay? And Post Malone was just like, yeah, man, that's crazy. I hadn't heard that. Tell me more, whatever. And David Lynch goes, I just found a piece of driftwood. It was given to me, and it came from space. Someone found a piece of driftwood in space. And Post Malone was like, man, that's nuts. How does that even happen? He's like, I don't know. And Post Malone goes, can you, tell that it's from space? Can you taste the space in it? And David Lynch goes, I haven't tried. And Post goes, do you want to try right now? And he goes, yeah, I'll try it right now. And he takes the driftwood and he puts it in his mouth and he doesn't chew on it. He sort of just sucks on it a little bit like a popsicle.
Mm-hmm.
And Post Malone just goes, how does it taste? And David Lynch, he thinks for a second and he smiles and he just goes, wonderful. And that was the end of my dream. I don't know what it means, but it felt relevant to this conversation.
Yeah.
It feels like a real thing that could happen, except for maybe the Post Malone part. But
sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. Driftwood from space.
Also, I don't want to let the spot-on David Lynch impression go unnoticed.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes,
I was trying to do a subdued one, but it was still in there.
Yeah.
Still pretty good. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, man. David Lynch is was a very interesting person. Mm-hmm. Did either of you ever watch his every morning weather report or whatever that was on YouTube?
Yeah.
It's June 23rd, and if you can believe it, it's a Friday once again. That was my favorite thing. Every Friday. It would keep you tethered to reality just to be it's Friday. I'm during COVID. Now it's Friday again, and now it's Friday again. But it also kind of ruined my life a little bit because it felt like time was going so fast. Every time he said it's Friday once again, it was oh no, it's Friday again. We're now 6 months into this or whatever. What are both of your relationships with him in general? Like, what stuff have you seen? What have you not seen?
Ken, you've seen actual stuff more than I.
I
literally had IMDb pulled up before we hopped onto this to be like, what have I seen of his, if anything?
Wow, you know what? I really haven't seen a whole lot. I've seen Twin Peaks, but not anything including or after Fire Walk with Me.
So you have not seen Fire Walk with Me? So
no.
Ken, I'll say this. I'll say this. I mean, if you had seen Twin Peaks, I would have recommended Fire Walk with Me because that's my favorite David Lynch thing.
Oh, that alone. Okay.
But the movie and season 3 are my favorite Twin Peaks, more so than the original series. So I would love to do the pilot with you, but only on the condition that you both do the entire show.
Yeah,
and it's not that long.
Never gonna do that.
I'll do that. I watch TV all the time.
CJ, original show is only 30 episodes. Okay. That is like one season of television, basically.
Yeah.
And then season 3 is 18 episodes, which is, again, shorter than a, quote unquote, normal TV season.
Yeah.
And then there's a movie, and that's it.
Okay.
And it's very doable, and I would love it if you did it.
Sure.
He's being very polite right now, but I have a feeling he's never going to do that. I think it would be interesting if we did Fire Walk with Me, and then CJ had not seen it.
Oh, no, but then that ruins it. It ruins it. Don't do it.
You think? Okay.
Here's what I'll say. I won't come back on the show until you finish the show.
Okay.
All right.
That's on you, Siege.
All right. A couple of weeks from now, it'll be done.
Great.
Cool. Yeah, but I've seen that. I've seen, I think I've seen Lost Highway. I've definitely seen Dune. Mm-hmm. But not a whole lot else. Like Eraserhead's been on my list forever. I haven't seen that. Mm-hmm. Blue Velvet, haven't seen that. So it's kind of a blind spot for me as well. Is there anything you've seen, Siege?
This might be the only one. I'm scrolling through his IMDb, and none of this. Yeah, I haven't seen Blue Velvet, haven't seen Eraserhead, haven't seen The Elephant Man, haven't seen Twin Peaks, haven't seen Dune.
I'll say this. I think this is probably the most inscrutable thing out of all of it.
Interesting.
Inland Empire maybe would be a little bit more. Inland Empire is very weird. But this one is the closest thing that feels like it should be a real movie. It is a real movie, but you know what I'm saying. Like a standard conventional movie. If you watched it with the sound off, you'd be like, yeah, it's a movie. It's just like a regular movie, whatever. But then it is very confusing. Do you guys know the backstory to this movie at all?
I do.
Okay. CJ,
let's save it for trivia.
Yeah.
Okay.
For a second.
I had to resist. I really, really wanted to just go down a rabbit hole and read the entire Wikipedia page as soon as I finished watching this, but I figured it would spoil some of the trivia. But I'll be fascinated. I
struggled
to know.
Writing the trivia this time just because there's a lot known about this movie, but it's hard to formulate it into questions.
Of course.
I almost wonder if we should just get this out of the way now.
Yeah.
So that we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So it's time for.
Hey, did you know that?
That's right. For new listeners, this is, I just said it, obviously the trivia portion of our show where we pit our guest and CJ head to head to see who knows the most about what we watched. And I think we already know it, but we'll do it anyway. Patrick, CJ, are you two ready?
Ready to lose again.
All right. First question. I think this is going to hit the nail on the head immediately, but true or false, this was originally written as a spin-off to Twin Peaks.
I'm going to let CJ answer all of these first.
Yep.
That's
absolutely.
probably, that's a good idea. Because you're asking it, I'll say true.
Yeah, you know what?
I'm playing the game. Yeah.
Yeah, it is true.
Yeah, that's true. And then good luck with this one. True or false, this was originally meant to be a television series.
Also true. It's very long. I could see it be originally for TV. Yeah.
That's true. Okay.
Yes!
Good job. Okay, now we're going on to a little bit harder ones, especially for CJ, but what is the first feature-length film that David Lynch ever directed, we'll say? But he also wrote and produced it.
It's got to be one of the 4 I just named, so I'm going to go with...
We've said the name of the movie.
Yeah.
We have said it.
We've already said
it. Eraserhead?
Yeah. Good job.
Wow. Yeah.
Crushing it!
Holy cow.
Yes!
All right. At some point, both of you need to not get the same answer. We'll do this one next. What is the latest... We'll make it even harder. In what year was the latest feature-length film that David Lynch produced, wrote, directed?
CJ, go ahead.
The latest one?
Mm-hmm.
Would it have been the Twin Peaks movie that you just mentioned?
Fire Walk with Me? Is that your answer?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I mean, it really depends who you ask, because the Cahiers du Cinema in 2017 said that Twin Peaks The Return, which is season 3, should just be counted as an extra long movie.
We're not doing that here.
So we're not doing that. So then I guess we're going to say Inland Empire in 2007.
That's correct, yeah. It's listed in 2006 here, but I'll either way, you got it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, we'll at least have a winner here.
Never even heard of that one.
Next question. How much did Mulholland Drive gross worldwide? And just to make it a little bit simpler, because CJ gets lost on this a little bit, this is in millions of dollars.
Okay, so it wasn't like 12
He's
bucks.
not asking how gross it is, CJ.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, pretty up there. Man, I have no... This came out in 2001, right? Yeah. Early aughts money. Just a cool $100 million.
Okay.
Wow. I'm going to say $13 million.
Much closer, although it is higher, $20 million.
Okay.
I think like domestically it might have been 13.
Sure.
But $100 million for this movie?
That's a bona fide hit.
Yeah.
We'd be getting sequels.
Yeah.
When movies actually stayed in theaters
Franchise
longer.
Yeah.
All right. We got now pulling away ahead, Patrick in first. This is going to be the final question.
Great.
What is the Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter score for this movie in percentage? And just to make it a little more interesting, we'll say closest without going over. And Patrick, you go first since you're in the lead.
I'm going to say 47%.
This is the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, just to be clear. But
I'm going to say 47%.
Okay. Siege?
Oh, I think it's higher than that. So the safe bet is to say 48%. Cut him off at the knees.
That would be the safe bet to say that if you thought it was higher. And it is, yeah, because the correct answer is actually 84%.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Wild.
That is
Yeah.
wild.
But I think we all knew this in the beginning. Patrick, you're our winner. Congratulations.
Wow, shocking. I didn't see that coming.
Blown away. Just for fun, what do you think the audience score is on Rotten Tomatoes for Mulholland Drive?
I have to imagine it's lower.
Yeah. That was my guess too.
Just
Maybe in the
because of-
70s? 71?
I think it's even lower than that. I'm going to say 65.
87%.
Wow.
Higher.
I don't
Wow.
personally understand that, and we'll talk about our
interesting.
ratings later on. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I at least went and checked this in on Letterboxd, and even that I was just looking at like the people I follow and what they've given this, and it was almost all like 4 or 5 stars.
yeah, that's what I saw as well.
People love this movie.
Yeah,
I saw one 3-star review, and they wrote in the comments like, "I am embarrassed to even put that I put 3 stars for this movie, but it just wasn't for me."
I mean, I would not know how to rate this movie. If someone was like, how many stars would you give this? I'd be like, I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're gonna ask you in a little bit something very similar to that. But
Spoiler alert, you already know my answer.
uh-oh.
He's just abstaining. We've never had that.
This movie's very strange. We didn't talk about this in well, I guess we did talk about it in the plot summary, but like, yeah, they switch characters halfway through the movie, or like 3/4 of the way through the movie.
Yeah.
And at that point, I am immediately lost and don't understand anything. Yeah.
Can I tell you one of the theories online?
I would love to hear that.
One of the theories, and I don't know all the details, this is just me speaking off the dome, is that the first half of the movie is, what's her name, Jane in the second half?
I think
I can't remember.
Diane?
Diane. It's Diane. It's Diane. It's sorry.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Diane in the second half is the reality, and Diane in the first half is her imagination, her wants of what she wishes her life in Hollywood was like.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
So then, midway through, you snap back to reality and realize what she's actually going through or whatever. That's the prevailing theory. There's no real answers to this movie.
I'm sure.
Because this, CJ, for you, this movie was pitched and mostly shot as a TV pilot for ABC. They filmed most of it. ABC said, "No, thank you. We are good." And he said, "Okay, I'm going to go get $10 million more and I'm going to finish this." So they shot an extra 30 minutes or whatever and he tried to wrap up a lot of stuff as well as he could. But the thing is, you make a pilot for TV, you're setting up all these stories that are going to be answered over 5 seasons or whatever.
Right.
So, like, there's a lot of stuff that it's just like, it sort of just gets dropped or it goes nowhere or whatever. And I believe, I'm going to get flamed online for saying this, I believe that once they turn into new characters, that is mostly of the new footage that they shot once the pilot had already been scrapped.
That makes sense.
That's pretty much what I read too.
Yeah. They had to wait until the contract was done, basically. So then once that, I was watching some of the behind-the-scenes stuff last night. Once they went back to go film more stuff, they had to get all the actors to come back. So that's why some actors don't show up again in the second half. All of the costumes, props, and sets had been distributed to other shows or back to costume houses. So that's why a lot of the stuff you see, again, does not show up again in the second half. They're in a different apartment. They're wearing different clothes. They're doing all this stuff because this stuff literally just like was on ER now and they couldn't get it back or whatever. You know, it was somewhere else. So he was working with what he had, and in the moment he was being like, I don't know what to do. Like, I had a plan for 3 more years here. I didn't have a plan for 18 more minutes, you know? Yeah. Like, it's put him in a very weird spot and position, and that is why so much stuff changes in that movie and gets dropped and doesn't matter or seemingly doesn't matter or whatever.
I saw some review on Letterboxd that it was like Diane's making a deal with the devil, and that's like the deal she made to then like get that fantasy kind of thing. Or
Sure. Yeah, a lot of people think the guy at Silencio, the like MC, is the devil. That is what people were told. You know, who knows? I went to a thing this week at Dynasty Typewriter in Los Angeles. They did a very last second on Tuesday. They did a screening of Twin Peaks: The Return, episode 8, which is a lot of people say is the best episode of television ever made. I agree. I think it's great. It rules. And they had a lot of people from that episode there, but they also had Rebecca Del Rio, who's the singer from The Club, and the MC, who's the, you know, quote unquote, the devil or whatever. And he introduces her and he's got the stick and like he's doing the whole thing. And then she sang the song from it. And it was, it ruled so hard. It was so cool. And then the next day I watched this movie again and I was like, yeah, those are my friends. Those are my friends. I saw them the other day, you know, whatever. But yeah, so there's just a lot of stuff that like doesn't add up to much in this movie. And it's, you know, it's all up to your own interpretation and up to what you want it to mean, and that might work for some people and that might not work for other people. It's not one of my, I would not put it in my top 4 or 5 Lynch stuff, but there is stuff in this movie that I think about a lot. I love that trash lady.
Yeah.
Yes. I want to know more about the trash lady.
The trash lady is now the Nun. Do you know the Nun series of movies?
She's literally the Nun?
She is the Nun.
Oh, snap.
And she lives around the corner from me, which is that's very awesome. Exciting.
Do you yell trash lady at her?
I don't, no. But I do whenever I go up to her. If I see her, I go, ugh, and I grab my chest and I faint like Patrick Fischler does. Yeah.
That scene, I will say, was actually pretty scary.
Yeah.
I was genuinely thinking like, oh, if this is where it goes, which I knew it didn't because I'd seen it before, but if it went more down this road, like it could be a genuinely very scary movie.
I think that's my favorite scene in the movie.
I think I might agree with that.
Yeah,
I was also, again, this was my first time watching it, so like for the first like good half hour, if not longer, you just keep being introduced to more and more people. And they're not, as far as you can tell, connected in any way. And so I'm just like, kind of like, okay, who's this guy? What's his deal? Okay, he's got like some trauma going on. And then he like passes out. I was like, surely we'll see him later in the movie. It's like, nope, not really.
Nope. No,
that was it.
No. Yeah, you see him in one more shot, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
There was a lot of that of just like, oh, some of this is just to be part of it. It doesn't really tie back to anything.
And to maybe come back in episode 4 or episode 6 or what, you know, like, and then that just doesn't happen. So but you shot it. You shot it, so you might as well use it.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
He could have cut stuff out, though. I don't know, but it's such a good scene.
Yeah,
that's probably why you left it in there.
Yeah. It was powerful. But that totally makes sense, having heard that it was supposed to be a pilot and he like shot extra stuff, because it does feel like it becomes kind of a different movie at the end.
Yeah. It does feel unfinished to an extent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, speaking of all the people like being introduced, I was pulling up IMDb while watching it just to be like, I wonder if I've seen some of these people in any other thing. But that cast list is like 300 people long. Like, there's so many people in this. It was like impossible. I was trying to find the MC dude, but you're just like scrolling forever because it's listed in order. And it's like, Jesus Christ, there's so many.
And he's also not listed as the MC. I think he's listed as the magician.
Yeah, as the magician. Yep.
Because there's also the MC, which is also the guy who goes to Justin Theroux to tell him he doesn't have any money.
Right.
His bank cut him off. That's the same actor. So it's like, it's also a very confusing cast list, because you're like, we were trying to figure out who the casting director for the movie that she's going out for.
Oh, yeah.
There's a casting director's assistant who's like sitting next to her and is in a bunch of scenes. And we were like, who is that? And I was like, I don't know what her character name is. So like, there's no way for me to figure this out.
You have to you have to sit there scrolling for like 5 straight minutes to find people. I will say, after all this, like, I definitely am intrigued. This does make me want to watch more of his stuff. Yeah. Because it is just like, it's so unique and fascinating, and it's been a while since I think this would have been really my jam earlier on in my life, and it was like, oh yeah, I haven't watched anything like this in quite a long time, and now it's I want to go back to that stuff.
I do think this is a decent representation of his kind of style. I mean, I guess having basically only ever seen Twin Peaks is the only other thing. I guess that's all I'm going off of. But if we are doing Twin Peaks next, if you like that kind of style with a bit more cohesiveness and plot, I think you will actually like Twin Peaks.
I mean, I was going to say that Twin Peaks, weirdly, in comparison to a lot of his work, he has a spectrum of normal to insane. And I think that this is on the end of, this is crazy, I don't know what's happening. And then there's like The Elephant Man and The Straight Story, which are like pretty straightforward, normal movies that like you understand what's going on. You can recognize this is a movie,
There is a plot to follow.
But Twin Peaks had this other, I mean, we can talk about this later, but like Twin Peaks had this other guy, Mark Frost, who was like a conventional TV guy. He like worked on NYPD Blue and stuff. And he was the guy who was like, okay, yes, David, that sounds great. We will do that. But also we need to have a plot here. And that's why that show works as a show, because like he had someone else to be like, yes, but this is how TV works. Like you need to do this to make sure that people understand like what they're watching. So there, there's varying things on his oeuvre that are like, this, my mother would understand this, or my mother would watch this, versus like, it's not worth showing her Lost or Inland Empire or something like that. Lost Highway's more normal. I like Lost Highway a lot.
I was going to ask you, like, out of his movies, what would be another one after that you would recommend?
Yeah, I mean, Fire Walk with Me is number 1 for me. I like Lost Highway. I like Eraserhead. I like Blue Velvet, and I've seen it maybe 4 or 5 times, but if you asked me anything that happened in Blue Velvet, I would not be able to tell you. You know what I mean? It's one of those movies where you're like, I've seen it so many times, but I forget it immediately after watching it. I don't really like Inland Empire. I don't really care about Dune, but that's more of a Dune thing. I don't really care about the new Dunes either. Like, it's just not something that means anything to me.
Too sandy.
Too sandy. Exactly. On the other hand, I do like Sandy Wexler, the Adam Sandler movie. That's not enough sandy. What else? I like Eraserhead. I just saw Eraserhead in the theater, and that was fun. I like Straight Story. I'm trying to think of what else there is. There's a few like weird shorts and stuff that aren't necessarily my jam, but I can appreciate them for what they are. That's pretty much it. Like, that's kind of all of them.
You got basically everything. I think Wild at Heart is the only thing.
Wild at Heart. I like Wild at Heart too. I've only seen it once, but I like it.
As I was scrolling through his IMDb, definitely a lot of shorts, but I do love that he does have on his IMDb a TV series called Weather Report.
That's amazing.
I like that they put
rules.
it on IMDb.
That's great.
Wow, cool.
There's 152 quote unquote episodes.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Well, I think we've delayed it long enough. Patrick, it's time for ratings.
Oh, no.
We know you've been waiting, so now it's time to hear our ratings.
I'm going to ask you, regardless of your answer, but Patrick, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate Mulholland Drive for you?
Okay, here's the thing. It's a long movie, but I personally was never bored watching it. Because I'm just like, I don't know what's happening, but it's fascinating and it like looks pretty. And like, it was also a lot of like, oh, I know where that street is now, or I know what that restaurant is, like that kind of stuff, which was weird to watch at this time. I'm going to give it a 7, just because you're right, it does feel unfinished. I know that's probably higher than everyone else's, but I think just because I've seen so much of his stuff that I'm like, I feel like I'm checked into the vibe, It's
Sure.
not my favorite of his movies. It's definitely not my least favorite of his movies. It's sort of just right there in the middle. I like a lot of it a lot, and I think the Patrick Fischler Trash Lady scene is peak cinema. So, it's
Agreed.
It's there. I think 7 is a pretty fair rating.
Okay. CJ, I'm going to go to you next.
Okay.
Anticipating what your rating is.
And I'm not going to be mad, no matter what it is, CJ. Just
No,
keep that in mind.
none of us have any in
Yeah.
this movie. It's okay.
No.
For me, fascinating, confusing, vibey, also not bored. I watched this all in one sitting, which is a feat. It's 2.5 hours long.
For you, yeah.
But yeah, still confused, want to read the Wikipedia page to maybe understand more, and that might help. I'm intrigued by him now. Probably like a 6. Like I didn't dislike it. It was interesting. It just definitely like when that change happens, it really hits you by surprise, and it took me a while to be like, wait, okay, so that wasn't real, but now is this real? But then they're cutting, okay, maybe this is real. Just, confusing. But I guess maybe not in such a bad way. But yeah, totally get like it feeling a bit unfinished. That last half hour for sure just kind of feels like a totally different movie, which now knowing behind the scenes makes sense because it was.
Yeah.
Ken.
No, absolutely. I mean, I agree with everything you said. I really struggle to put a rating on this. I think I already did it on Letterboxd, but I'm not going to look up what I said there. I don't know. I might go lower than you, CJ. I think I'm going like a 5.5 or something. I had seen this before, and when we had decided to watch this David Lynch movie, I was like, okay, yeah, cool. I've seen it before. And then when I sat down to watch it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember like really just being so confused and turned off the first time I watched it. And that kind of just sat with me the whole rest of the movie because that's what it is. There's definitely really great elements overall. The trash lady stuff we've already talked about, but like very scary. Really like that. But it's just one scene. I don't know. I wanted more of a lot of little things in this movie, and that's how a TV show is. So, if this had been on TV, I probably would have watched it. But the way it turned out, it's just not for me, I don't think. I don't know. As a whole, that is.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, that's fair. I wanted more of the blue box. They find the blue box, and then the camera goes down the hole of the blue box, and then that's it. Yeah. It's like, wait, what happened?
I want to know more.
Well, the trash lady's got the blue box.
Yeah, true.
So
is that
ends up in her
is that
bag.
what is in that bag? I couldn't see in my version.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Huh.
What does that mean?
No idea.
Like, huh is all I can say. I don't what the fuck, man.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Ken, I believe your Letterboxd review was, oh man, ... what happened?
Okay, yeah, that sums it up. Yeah, and I still can't answer it. Having discussed for about 40 minutes here.
Yep.
I don't know.
My wife did not watch this with me, but afterwards she had said she watched it in like college. She was like, I don't really remember what happened. Can you give me like the 30-second summary? I was like, I cannot. I would have no idea how to do that. I'm still confused. And she's like, did you like it? I was like, I don't know.
When the Blu-ray or the DVD came out for this movie, Lynch obviously doesn't like answering questions about stuff. He likes leaving things up for interpretation, being like, I don't know, what did you think? Like, it's a lot of that kind of thing. And they were like, we need to find a way to sell this DVD. Like, what are the things that, can we put bonus stuff on? Can we answer anything on here? And he was like, I will give you 10 clues. And if you figure out those 10 clues, you will be able to crack what this movie is.
Oh.
Can I
Do you
read
have them in front of you?
Can I read them for you?
Yes.
Here's the thing. People have been debating this for 25 years. So it's like one of those things where it's like...
But we're going to do it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to read all 10.
Okay.
Number 1. Pay particular attention to the beginning of the film. At least 2 clues are revealed before the credits. 2. Notice appearances of the red lampshade. 3. Can you hear the title of the film that Adam Kesher is auditioning actresses for? Is it mentioned again? 4. An accident is a terrible event. Notice the location of the accident. 5. Who gives a key and why? 6. Notice the robe, the ashtray, the coffee cup. 7. What is felt, realized, and gathered at Club Silencio? 8. Did talent alone help Camilla? 9. Note the occurrences surrounding the man behind Winkies. It's a man, not a trash lady. It's a trash man.
Okay.
And 10. Where is Aunt Ruth? Those are the 10 things. There's a website called Mulholland-Drive.net, and they go through all of them. I've not read their interpretations of these, but they have a lot of thoughts regarding this.
The one clue that I do know, you mentioned notice the coffee cup.
Yeah.
That's the same mug that happens in that kind of like boardroom where he spits out the coffee. It was the same exact.
Sure.
Now, what does that mean? No idea. I just noticed. Hey, that's the same one.
Yeah.
I will be reading this website after we hang up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I am very inclined to think that David Lynch just picked things to list here.
I think there's probably also part of that. I think that was also part of his thing is like, I don't know, I'm not going to tell you. Like, I'll just make shit up and now you're going to talk about it for 25 years, which we are, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, David Lynch, you are already very well missed. We're going to try to get CJ to watch Twin Peaks.
It'll happen.
And, yeah, I'm very tempted to rewatch Twin Peaks and then finally get to the rest of it. So I'll at least be doing that.
Good.
CJ is very stone-faced that he is doing it, so I'm starting to believe him.
I am.
Here's what I'll say.
Okay.
If you want my next 3 episodes to be the pilot, the movie, and the season 3 finale, I'm here.
It's Twin Peaks month. We're doing the whole month.
All right. God. Well, Patrick, thank you for joining us. Where can people find you? What's your new podcast called? What's going on?
Yeah. I mean, people can find me on the next 3 episodes of this podcast where we'll be watching Northwest Passage, the pilot of Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, and Twin Peaks Part 18. And then you can listen to my new podcast. It's called Hey, That's Me, a commentary podcast. It's me and Brian Lynch, who wrote Secret Life of Pets and Minions and a whole bunch of other fun movies. And we do commentaries on movies and TV shows with people who never got to do commentaries for them. Cool. The episode that came out literally a few hours ago is the 2022 movie Prey, which is the Predator movie that came out on Hulu. And we do it with the Predator. Dane DeLegro, the man who's in the suit for the Predator in Prey, and it rules. It's great. It's out now. Awesome. We've got a lot of really fun ones that are coming up. Where else? If you happen to be in the Bay Area in San Francisco, February 1st, we're doing a George Lucas talk show as part of the San Francisco Sketch Fest. That's going to be at Club Fugazi with Rob Corddry, Nina West from Drag Race, John Morris, who played Andy in the Toy Story movies, and Mo Willems, the children's book author. February 2nd, we're doing a live... It's a crazy lineup. February 2nd, we're doing an all-star live reading of the Star Wars Holiday Special at Cobb's Comedy Club. Very fun group of people. February 3rd, if you're in Los Angeles, I'm doing a fundraiser with actress Natalie Morales, and we've got an insane lineup of music and comedy. That's at the Lodge Room in Highland Park, and that's all for fire relief. And then February 4th, we're doing 2 George Lucas talk shows at Dynasty Typewriter in Los Angeles. And look, as of now, unless anything changes, there will be more guests in addition to this, but the guests are going to be Lorraine Newman, original SNL cast member.
Wow.
Robert Timothy Smith, who plays Neil in Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which is on Disney Plus now. He's the little elephant boy. And then Seth Rogen.
Wow.
And what else? February 8th at Dynasty Typewriter, I'm doing a show with TV writer Michael Ausiello. When he was a kid, he wrote 500 episodes of a soap opera, and we're doing live readings of those soap operas. And one of the actors in that is Patrick Fischler, the man who gets scared by the trash man in Mulholland Drive.
Incredible.
Yep.
Cool.
What else? I don't know. You can find me on social media. It's a hellhole right now, but I'm still on all the things at the moment. And every Sunday you can come see ASSSCAT at the UCB Theater in Los Angeles. That's also live streaming. Oh, also the George Lucas Talk Show with Dynasty Typewriter is live streaming, and the soap opera show is live streaming. So you can watch those from anywhere. And then George Lucas Talk Show is all on YouTube. You can also watch the other live readings that we've done for the Star Wars movies. Those are on the George Lucas Talk Show channel as well. It's a lot of stuff. If you go to my website, most of it is there, or my link tree on my social media. You'll get links to everything.
Busy guy.
I also want the listeners to know that was all off the top of his head. He did not read any of that.
And
so impressive.
And all of those shows are within a week.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wild.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah. Holy cow. Try to sleep at some point.
Yeah. Also, check out my day job. I have a day job, too. It'll be fine. God. It's fine.
Wow.
Well,
incredible.
Thank you again for joining us. We will figure out Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks
I'm ready.
Coming soon.
I'm ready.
Coming soon. Siege, what do we have?
You can follow us on all of the things at Overtalking Pod. Call or text the show at USACat1591. Email us at overtalkingpod@gmail.com, or go to our very, very real website, overtalkingpod.party.
Yes. And, oh no, they're here. Yep, still doing it. Sorry.
I always forget about this.
Yeah,
this part is very
Lynchian. It doesn't fit with anything else. It is very Lynchian,
this
isn't
fits
it?
perfectly.
Yeah. It's just tacked on at the end that doesn't line up with anything else. The only talking about here, there are ghastly otherworldly landlords who show up at the end of every episode.
Slow down. Start again. Slow down.
If you'd like to show, please tell a friend and spread the word. We really appreciate it. Thank you. We spend no money in advertising, so spread the word. I fucked it up. Anyway, rate us, review us on Spotify or anywhere that you get podcasts. Thank you.
You took him out of his trance. He can't be disturbed with his eyes rolled in the back of his head.
Yeah, that's what happens when they arrive. I lose all time and space. That's it. Thank you. Thank you.
And as we say at the end of every single episode,
Silencio.
Silencio, yes.
Bye.
Bye.
This episode of the Overtalking Podcast was produced by Ken and CJ, edited by CJ. This week's special guest was Patrick Cotnoir. Music by Justin Peters. Logo by Nate Richards. Check out Nate's work on Instagram at Nate Richards Designs. And don't forget to get your Magic Mind by going to magicmind.com/overtalkingpodjan and using code overtalkingpodjan at checkout to help support our show. The link is in the show notes.